looking at
I'm gonna
it.
keep
I wanna
looking
keep
at
looking at it.
I want to see who when Price tells a lie. That's what it is.
It's like Windows Media Player whenever music would play.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Oh, I remember
miss
that.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
was
love
good.
that
The
thing.
visualizer.
They need to
Yeah.
bring that shit
You know,
back.
I bet that still exists.
Yeah, surely.
Oh,
yes.
Nathan, you get the button.
Oh, we think it's that
Right,
kind of
Price
day.
will
It
be
needs
there.
to be out.
All right.
Okay.
All
Price is gonna be all over that
We're on
button.
play.
Oh yeah, I love dryness.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
this
dry.
movie is pretty much like a play more than it is.
yeah. Oh, believe me, no talking until Dylan introduces it, because I'm gonna be talking about that point for about 20
It's funny
minutes.
you should
Okay,
say that.
give me a
Cody.
second. I'm feeling a little sneaky and I don't want I need
Think
to
of
see what
oranges.
passes.
Don't look up.
Tangerines.
It's just a little. My nose has been the first day I can like my nose hasn't been like runny or too stuffy. But I also ate India oven for dinner because I just
That's
want to
gonna
fuck
clear
it
it,
all up.
yeah.
Oh, that, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
just,
that's
that's
good.
that's
That's
good.
no, I know. That's why I ate dinner last night too. So
You snort any like coke or anything?
no, God wish.
That would do it.
Speaking of Mason, I took Kelly to Cheddar's.
Cheddar.
Finally.
Yeah.
Well, last time she went, she's absolutely hated it since. And
She's
said,
right.
She said it was okay, and I was like, I agree. At least you have the correct opinion about Cheddar's.
It's very alright, I think.
It is the most bare minimum all right you can get.
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
You shouldn't go to
basically
it for that
you-
reason, actually.
You went to a restaurant for somebody to cook stuff that they picked up from the Kroger.
Yeah.
Just
Right next door?
Right
Yeah.
next door.
Did you know they give a butter croissants as appetizers
I
now?
did know that.
I'm
didn't
very
know
impressed
that.
with that.
I had no idea.
That's like something.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, that to me, that's nothing.
It's like
Yeah,
Longhorn
for others,
red
I'm sure that's
brown
nice.
bread.
Well, then you pay $10
Oh, the rye
for a
bread.
dinner
Yeah,
that's
the
this
rye bread?
big.
It's a brown bread.
It's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This
Just
is-
bring it to that big old loaf.
Yeah. They do it at Old Spaghetti Factory.
Price, you
too.
started this.
Dylan,
Or
we
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Dylan, we're talking about Neil's podcast, what he's going to talk about on there.
Neil?
We need to get back to this
Food?
podcast.
Oh yeah, that's true. Neil does all the food podcasts. Anyway, okay. I don't know how high my.
Don't think about it.
No, I know.
Oh, that happened naturally.
Just go.
Welcome!
No.
Oh yeah.
How's that?
There we go.
It's more of like it's like a yodel when you do it,
So,
right?
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. So you gotta build to a slightly stuffy episode of the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Price and Mason, Nathan and Dylan. Not particularly in
Not
that
that
order. Yeah.
Mm.
We're trying some new stuff. Don't worry about it. That's for us to find out. But today, that makes it sound like we're trying like butt stuff or things like that, right?
Could be.
Yeah, maybe. Today,
You have to be a
those
subscriber to
podcasts.
see that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Members only.
you gotta sign up for our Patreon for that content. We are talking about the movie The Outfit. 2022's The Outfit, not to be confused with 1973's The Outfit. News to me.
Huh?
Yeah, apparently there's a. Shut up, Nathan. No, no, you did not. No, you did not. You asked today because you watched it today, and I had said very distinctly 2022. Mark my
I mean,
words.
a while after I was already watching it.
Sure. Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about the 2022 one. If you watched the 73 one, I have
Okay.
no idea what that movie's about. Let me know in the comments
I mean,
below.
maybe it's the same thing. It could have been.
Could have been a remake. I have no
I
idea.
saw the poster and it looks very mafia-ish.
Yeah, it looks very gangster,
Okay,
which
well,
is
you know
not
what?
disingenuous.
That's
to this.
true.
It could be. I mean, it could
It
be.
could
But
just
what's
be the
this
same
movie
story
about?
again.
It might
So this outfit, which may or may not be what the last outfit was about, is we've got the whole movie centering around one of those "Hey, we're all staying home" style movies. You
be a
got
model episode.
yes, Mark
Maybe.
Mark Rylance, who's a not a tailor, he's a cutter. He wants you to know the difference.
I have no idea who Mark Rylance is or why you're using his name.
Because I don't remember the
English.
character's name. English. There we
That
go.
was his name.
Yeah.
I say it like you say it like he's like John Travolta or something.
No,
Like,
it's just
I've
I just
never
know the
heard of this
actor's
guy.
name.
He's in BFG.
Yeah.
He's in Dear John.
You fool. Anyways.
Yeah, everybody knows those movies.
Right. So you got an old man. He runs a shop that makes suits and all that. but
Old
he's,
man.
He's not a tailor, and mafia stuff starts going through it. It's been going through there for a while, and then it's kind of just all hits this peak moment where a night happens where one of the the
The
Don's son gets
yeah.
shot, and
Yep.
they think there's a rat, and there is. And it's just the culmination of all these little whodunit things kind of continuing outwards from there. Hijinks ensue. That's kind of really the most concise way to do it, because something new is kind of going on depending on which act we're talking about in the film. So,
I think one of the biggest sins this movie has is that the intro does not pull you in the slightest.
I love the narration.
I couldn't stand it. It doesn't do anything
A
for the
suit
movie.
is comprised of 236
And he ties it back in, and he's talking to the
But you don't know that at the beginning.
Yeah, you don't
That's
know.
fine.
The beginning is just an old man making a suit, and you're like, why do I care about this? And then it keeps going and going.
But
Yeah,
it's so
for
like
so long.
detailed and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
This
neat.
movie
It's-
is very much about like building to a reveal. So, I mean, we're gonna spoil.
We're gonna
So
spoiler. We're gonna
if you
get the
want
reveal.
to watch this movie, don't watch it already knowing what's gonna happen. It's not
Guilty.
gonna be
It'll
good
ruin-
if you do that.
It'll ruin the entire movie.
There's
No,
no
well,
point
that's
in
not
watching
true.
it
That's not
if
true
you
at
know
all.
what's gonna happen.
In fact,
I
Price
think.
thought the movie was ruined apparently, and he didn't even know what was going on.
He watched
so.
it a single time and he thought it was ruined.
Yes.
So
results may vary.
It's a good bottle episode.
yeah.
It is very much set up in such a way that I think this could be a play easily.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it should
And
have
it
been.
might have been.
And it
Might be
should-
the cheapest
I mean,
play.
it basically is.
No, not all four of us are well versed in our theater plays. As very well could have been behind the scenes, and it's just now since produced into a movie.
It should have been a play. It should not have been a movie.
There
There's not enough going on the screen to merit this being a movie.
I don't
Be as
think
difficult
so.
as you want,
I-
and I will make the best comparison, and I'm gonna throw it back because I know I'm gonna get a lot of crap for it because, and like
you
it's
say
like
Tim and Eric, I will
Don't
punch
you- I'm
through
not-
Dylan's
No.
head into
So-
your head.
no because
I'm nothing but snot too. It'll be very
Because
easy.
Hateful Eight
Good
is
call.
very much like that. That where it's like a bottle episode inside the cabin.
yeah, I'm
but
with
they
you.
go
All right, I'm
outside
with
the cabin. They do a lot of other stuff to merit it being a movie and a feature film.
But we can all
movie
argue
is
that
not.
most of the Hateful Eight was better after they got to Haberdashery or Mini. Is that where they were?
Minnie's haberdashery.
Well, that's
Yeah.
where the movie is.
Right. Well,
Yeah, but all the stuff beforehand was just like, eh. Okay.
9 out of 10 things outside of the haberdashery are kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could cut it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's like a lot of other stuff that goes on outside the cabin, which is my point that this movie has nothing going on outside
I mean,
of these
there are
two
things
rooms.
happening.
There's plenty of
outside.
things happening outside it. They're just
but
not
they
showing.
don't show you because this is a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the only set that was built for this play.
I also
Yeah.
think
I
that
like this theory
if
more.
this
I'm
is
okay with
actually
it.
converted
I mean,
into
I-
a play.
Like I to be honest,
It just makes sense from a theater
I liked
perspective.
it from that perspective.
I don't think that,
That
someone
made it
could
better
nail
to
it
me.
if it was a play. Mark Rylance's his whole dialogue or monologues mainly because hardly anyone's actually talking to him and all
Yeah.
of these like
Yeah, I-
schemy like
Yeah.
I've understood this entire
I
time.
think
You're the
the
rat. This is
tension
happening.
can't exist
Exactly.
in the form of a play.
You can't.
Right.
This movie nails it because it is just him as an actor and what he's given.
And you can't have like breaks in between the acts and stuff like that for like everybody to go use the bathroom.
No, it's
Right.
got to be
In a play.
tense.
It has to be tense and on edge the whole time.
This
Yeah.
movie's tense, Bryce.
Oh, okay.
Why didn't you get that?
I didn't understand anything apparently.
No. Did you even know this wasn't in America? It is. It's in Chicago.
I honestly didn't know where it was. I figured it was Chicago. 'Cause
But
they
when you have a
mentioned
Brit and then a
alcohol.
bunch of, I mean, again,
And they're talking about like candies, and
Right.
stuff,
Mm,
Yeah.
specifically in Chicago.
and it being a period piece of that as well.
It's a December.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and whenever he says like he left without
He left
his
without the
coat
coat in
in
December.
Chicago.
Yeah,
in December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that point. For the record, all right. So
That was one of the better reveals too.
hold on. No, it is. That honestly is like on rewatch. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No, so let's jump to the beginning a little bit again because Price has fair criticisms in saying that it's a slow start and that he feels not connected to it with it. I don't know. I watched it and I didn't have a problem with that, but I kind of felt like it was like I was signing up for, oh God, I can never remember the right letters for it. Asmer. What's the
ASMR.
ASMR? Yeah. So the calming because there's too many therapy ones that are EMDRs and stuff like that that are too relative, so I always get those mixed up. But
I get it.
it starts off as this very like soothing kind of calming, like oh okay, and I kind of like that vibe with
A
it off the
very
cuff.
procedural,
Yeah.
just like something to just calm your nerves.
Right.
Like just hearing somebody talking about their profession. And
It's kind of like the same vibe I get when Bob Ross is talking and whenever he's doing painting, you know. And I'm like, okay, I'm chill with this. Like, let's chill. Let's vibe, brother. All right, tell me about making this suit.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, mafia guy. Hey, English. Hey, don't mind me. I'm just dropping money into this box.
Which
hey.
Dylan O'Brien just
Dylan
kind of sort of kills it. I
He
don't know,
does. I think he does a great
I kind
job.
of liked him in it.
He's that perfect role of like what a shithead, but you're kind of wanting to be on like you're kind of like his shitheadiness with it.
Pretentious.
Yeah.
Like, I come up to be, my father's in charge of everything.
Right, like you can kind of
talk
get
to
him.
my pops yet? You talk to my pops yet?
Yeah, he's got that. He's definitely got like a sense of entitled shithead to
Yeah.
it, but you don't. I at least didn't hard hate him for it, right? I think
Sure.
that's a character it's hard to like
Yeah.
really like, but he tiptoes the
Yeah.
line where it's not like this character needs to fucking go. And spoiler, he does, but
Yeah, it's just it's more funny than anything. The way it's
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, like things are gonna be great for me.
Yeah.
It's good
I'm
for
gonna
dad.
glow up. Also,
Yeah.
him is just like you fucking idiot, Richie. Like, why'd you make me do that? And then shoots him in that. Yeah. So, I want to kind of like dive in with on this one though, because I think criticisms are fair. I don't think this is a perfect movie by any stretch of the means. And
Mhm.
my biggest criticism on the rewatch on this one was probably I had it and I lost it. Mason, I need you to talk while I get it back.
The
Thank you.
very end for me, because this
Sick brain,
movie,
bro.
it is so like, I don't know, there's such
it buttons up so nicely,
Yes.
and then you get to the bottom button, and it's just like, no,
Yeah.
it's not
and
quite.
it falls
yeah.
off because at the
Yeah.
very end he's setting fire to, which I don't want to go into it.
Yeah,
we're
well,
not-
let's not
you
get
just
that
jumped
far
to the
out.
But
end.
Dylan just said his main qualm with it. That is my main qualm. So if you found your point again, you can have it
I
back.
really wish I had it. It's just gone like a train in the middle of the night, man. I don't
It's
know.
just gone like a
I hate
marble
that
to
for
the
me.
belly. You
And
know
this-
what I'm
I
saying?
hate that for me.
And once it like the action really starts going and they start like talking at each other and doing all this
Yeah.
stuff, to me it felt like a heist movie,
Yeah.
which I don't like. When it's like stuff's going on in the background, it's like I really knew that this was going to happen in the first place. I knew this was going to happen all along. I set this over here because I know I'm so smart and I know I've been listening the whole time. And
It does
blah, blah,
do
blah.
that. It
It's like,
basically tells you.
I'm
that,
glad you're so
yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all just like a isn't this also clever kind of movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And it's all centered around stuff that is like you can't have had the hand tipped to you as the audience. I
That's
feel.
true.
Right. That being said, I thought that was, and I swear I was gonna look for. I'll find criticisms later. But the things I do like about this film is it's not. No, I said it's not a perfect movie. Stop it.
I was making sure it was on.
Yeah. But it was the ongoing thing of like feeling like is he or isn't he playing everybody? Like the English little back and forth with it, where it's just like, I think he's fucking with them. Like. And then it isn't. No, I remember what it was now. Yes, it was Ricky or whatever
Richie.
the kid's name,
Mhm.
Richie. It's whenever English like is playing the joke on him. He says, "I'm the rat,"
Yeah.
and for the audience, I'm like, "Oh shit, is he fucking doing? Like,
He's
are
about
we
to get
going?
his head blown
Dude, he's
off.
gonna die. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Is he gonna murder him?" And then they just laugh, and I was like, "This fills out a character for everybody right
Yeah,
here."
that felt weird.
That moment, I remember thinking, and he's like, "Oh, laughter's the best medicine." And I'm like, "No, the fuck it isn't. You're not funny."
He even said, he's like, I almost shot you. He was like, I felt it.
He did, right? He's like, "I thought you were gonna," yeah. And I was like, I laughed with it, but it was like, I remember the first
Like a
time I was,
nervous laugh?
yeah, like it's with them on that one, which I think is both a pro and a con to it. The pro is I'm like, I got there because of the moment. The con of it is I feel it feels very disingenuous to English and Richie to have those reactions to that.
Yeah.
Like Richie feels like he just would have shot him. Like every time I watch this movie, even on the rewatch,
It's
I'm
like
like, no, I think he's
hair
still.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
It is a little much to say that in that moment, unless you were holding more cards and were obvious, that
Yes.
you would make a joke like that.
So
if
confidently.
you were
Right.
just like the cutter.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for me was like the big jarring moment of the movie for me, and not so jarring that I definitely took away from the whole thing because I mean obviously that's just like a blip on like the whole plot radar of it all.
If anything, that was a little tension early
Yeah.
on. That you were like, excuse me?
But-
We're only a third of the way through this movie right now?
As much as
Like,
I don't like how inorganic that feels. It does play more into what I do like about the movie, which is English or isn't English playing everybody? Like, did he say that? I'm like, is this gonna come around to be like this was his like guilt admission of it? Or was it going to be a thing where it's just like he's been around all along? Or, for me, I was like, I do like that it adds a little bit of that extra intrigue because now it has me second guessing it. Which I think is probably like the biggest, at least in my opinion, the biggest strength of the movie is just sitting here and watching English tiptoe the line, then watch it go back. And then tiptoe the line and he's like, oh, defenseless old man. And then it's just like, oh, by the end of the movie, he's just like,
John Wick.
yeah, tattooed John Wick.
Dude.
And that moment is like, I'm like, man, you either really like that movie or like that moment, or you think it's way over. And
That one.
yeah, some people I knew were
I
gonna be
think it's a
over.
very polarizing moment.
It is.
Sure.
It is definitely like a you're in with it or you're not one, and I thought it was kind of fun.
That whole moment's so stupid because again, leaping forward, like Francis gets shot like 4 or 5 times by,
Yeah.
by
Could've
those
stayed
guys.
Yeah.
Just stay dead.
Him being alive was like, all right, you really just wanted to have one more. You wanted to have this reveal, and you really didn't know how to get there, and then you kind of was just like, but what if Francis was alive?
And he had said, like, Mark Rylance's character, the cutter guy, he was
Yeah,
like,
English.
you know, I've left England because of this and this and this. It was just like a third reason as to like
Yeah.
why he actually left.
On
you know, like,
on rewatch, I appreciate that more though. So on the
A
first
little.
on the first time, I remember thinking I was like, I kind of like that it's a little breadcrumby, and then I was like, yeah. But on rewatch now, I was just like, no, he really is just only giving you a little bit, and then the next time gives you a little bit more because of circumstances, and then the next time as a watcher, nobody else is getting these moments, right? Like every one of them are only getting the little bits of the story they got, but whenever you're getting the full
Well,
tale, I'm like, oh,
as I say,
this is what really happened.
yeah, Blue
Yeah.
Jeans was a
Blue Jeans was
fun
the joke.
Yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah.
a fun
the dismissive
ride.
way with it. And then with the Dawn, it was, oh yeah, my
The
family
movie,
died in
yeah.
the fire.
Yeah.
And then it was like, no, the fire only happened because I was also mobbing.
Yeah.
And then it was also, I'm John Wick.
I'm a Marine.
yeah.
I've been in every service you can be in.
That being said, like seeing the tattoos, I was like, oh shit. I remember I did have that moment with it, and that's because I was on board with it, but I
Seeing
was.
the
Just,
tattoos, I was like, is he a Nazi?
I know. I was like, which one of those are like the
Honestly,
racist
though,
ones?
if he was,
if he was
like,
at some point,
I mean, it
okay,
wouldn't
Yeah,
have been
I
that
guess.
out.
In the
At the
20s,
time period,
no, it would have been, but like
yeah.
even nowadays, where it's like, okay, this movie is based, I guess, in what, the 30s,
50s.
50s, yeah, it's post World. It's the. It's
That's
like
right,
the
'cause I
other
said a
war.
caddy, a
Yeah,
Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in World War II.
That's right, because he said the other war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Which is
that movie, that part of the movie, I was just like, why? It was only like 8 minutes.
And
or less.
it lessens his character so much because the whole time
I
you
don't
find
think it
like
lessens
he's
him.
it does because like the whole time it's like he's this tailor who's very smart and is very like he has because
It just makes him
the
smarter.
French
Makes
no
him-
the French lady says
No.
well let me finish because
La Fontaine. I remember
La
her.
Fontaine says
Yeah.
like oh nobody pays attention to you but you always have your ears open and like that's how you've succeeded all this time and why you're getting all this money and that's like the crux of his character to this whole movie is that he's quiet he has his ears open but doesn't say much that's the whole point and he's been building to this moment for such a long time and then for it to all culminate in him being John Wick reborn and killing this guy like that just lessens the fact of like he was just like he's just a well-intentioned
So
old man.
I think that like him as a cutter, he can absolutely be the smartest dude in the room at almost any moment. Like I think that he could have basically come up with that strategy along the way just fine as a normal human being. But I do think that if you add a service to it, add a history and some kind of
Criminal
like
history, especially.
Or-
is
or
to
that.
know, kind of. I mean, to even know about the outfit as a concept,
Sure.
right?
yeah, or just to
Well,
have some kind of background.
Did he
in that
make
stuff.
up the outfit?
I think he did.
I think that was totally made up because he was sending the
He was-
Right, he was
the
sending
one
it to
doing
them.
and the fact that it's called the outfit playing on him being
Right,
in
and
the
the
outfits.
profession.
I took that as, though on rewatch for me, it stuck to me as like he was conscious that this is an organization that works criminally, very much across seas and stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That
probably
like
true.
he was working with people who were probably made men into the outfit before, and then again because it's even if he's made up, like that means he's sending them letters and convincing these mob people that they're a thing, and it feels weird for them to like pretend that they're like, oh, we're getting made by doing this, and it just be like, okay, that sounds like they just got sent for a newsletter and they believed it though.
Also,
Like,
he just said that he's starting over. Like this is how
Yeah.
you start over. He had so many tattoos. This could be his fifth ride,
sixth
like
over,
seventh,
right.
eighth, or not continent, but country, where he just keeps doing this.
right.
I don't think that's true, but I do think that it opens the door for just. I mean, you just guys saw how many tattoos he had. He had like 10 or 11 on his arms.
I think the other thing that kind of stuck out to me was the fact that it makes him not wanting to go back to Europe make a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Whenever it's just
Yeah,
like every
'cause
time
he
she's just
had
like, "Come
to
with me,"
escape.
and he's like, "Maybe you don't understand," and he's like, "I know you don't. If I go back there, I'm probably very dead."
Yeah.
He's like, "That's why I'm here. I had to escape."
But with all of those things, the
Yeah.
ending being a little bit wonky, did we like Zoe Dutch's character? Because I thought that, like, for Price's critique towards the very beginning, that is where I got a little bit rocky because, like, I didn't much care for her at the beginning. I just thought she was very like.
Yeah, she felt throwaway. Like she felt like one of those throwaway side characters to give him a little depth, but not.
Well, and I think it was to make her a character that you mostly ignore.
Yeah.
True.
To then be
In the
revealed as
And then
like,
for her to come back
smarter
around. Yeah,
than
I
she
don't
appears.
hate what they did with her. I mean, if you said at the beginning, is she like particularly engaging and great? No, I mean like at the beginning she feels like she's that more plot device character, right? Like this is like
Well, and I feel like she's a character, like, as a, like, what she's meant to be doing, she's supposed to feel like she's got her, like, foot halfway out the door because she does.
Yeah.
Like, if you think
She
about
has been.
her,
how much work
her
that she's committed
character
to
and,
that.
like, what's about to happen to her
Mhm.
that night, she's leaving that night.
Right.
So she's already out the door.
Yeah, I think overall she lands for me. I mean, she's not like some spectacular character. I don't think she's not stealing the show or anything like that. But you know, full circle by the time at the beginning, I think she's like just fine. She feels like the surrogate daughter, and I think that does enough to flesh out English and give him an excuse to narratively explain some of this stuff with them and vice versa. And I'm like, okay, that's good enough. Like you don't need to be like the star shining character. And even by the time it tails in with it, I do start to care whenever it's like she's getting roughed up and English is like. No, like, and now he's like kind of having to improvise a little bit because it feels like, all right, if everything's kind of been going a little bit according to plan at this point, like, her getting caught up in this part of it was not so much, but he was very good at improvising and saying, he's like, no, you're the rat, and here's why you're suddenly very important.
Yeah.
Now that we've got, the Dawn and everybody away, because felt like those were the X factors in this whole little, like, plan of his at that point.
Yeah. Because Francis is also another huge plot device in this.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was tension, it was mostly because he was around or basically in the scene. Like he was very much the gun, and also like, I don't know, as an audience, like you learned a lot from his character, or how junky he was around Richie, and and all this stuff.
The first time you two are first time watchers on this, and I guess Mason, I can ask you because I've not asked this, what this is your second time, but when you were first watching it, or when you guys were just watching it, did you think A, that he was the rat, or B, that there was a rat? Like, what was your rat theory before it gets revealed? Because that was something I was having fun with on my first watch. And I was like, is there a rat at all? Is this going to be a thing? And then it's just like, no, it's her. But I don't know. Like, Francis, I'm like, it's fucking Francis, but that feels too obvious. Like, that's kind of the back and forth I was having.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit too obvious for Francis to be it, but I did think that Francis was way more out for the head job than he actually was on my second watch. Like in the second watch, he seems pretty straight and arrow.
Yeah, he's committed to the cause.
Yeah,
he's like,
he's not gonna
goal.
harm the leader. He's not gonna, Richie was just an idiot to him.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna hurt him, but he
The
kind of
fact
had
that
to.
the fact that he dimes Richie in the neck though, it's
Yes,
like
sir.
Jesus, bro. Like,
Business first.
yep.
Well, I mean, that's a move that bites him badly.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
Or
he's
is
set
it
up
both?
for that to happen.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that's a hard thing to believe that he would have done.
Right.
To me.
Like.
That's the only thing that's just like, if you're on board with being with this family,
Mhm.
you're not gonna kill the son of the Dawn.
No.
Richie wasn't giving him too much of an option though. I
No.
mean, he was gonna. I couldn't believe Richie didn't have his freaking gun out while he was talking to him like a dog.
Yeah.
Like he had his hand basically on the envelope. He was like, he even told him like, "Don't touch me."
Mhm.
He kept shoving him and like, I don't know, Richie.
You're such a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic,
Anyways,
classic gangster talk on that one. I don't know, Press. What did you buy into it? Was he the rat at all, or?
I wasn't really thinking or really caring about who the rat was because when they it started ramping up when Richie came in, shot and everything. I looked at the runtime and it was 30 minutes, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoever I think it is, it's not going to be who I think it
There's
is.
too much more to
because
develop.
there's an hour and a half left,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter what I think at this point.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any opinions. I definitely thought Francis was the bad guy though.
Yeah, I mean, and that much
Either
stays
way.
pretty much true. Like he's
Mhm.
our core bad guy throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is like, I mean, even when they bring in, the head or whatever, the dad, Boyle, yeah, it's just like, yeah, okay, I think, yeah, it makes sense. Sympathetic parent. And then he's like, yeah, well, got tortured a girl, sorry, there's nothing to do about it. And it's just like,
Dude, he switches on and off from
Yeah.
business
Hot and
and
cold real quick.
personalizing, the situation so much.
no, but the jacket reveal when he was, when he's
that
talking
was
with English
awesome.
that whole time, and he's like, yeah, and that's his jacket. And it's
Yeah.
just with that Southern tone, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Well,
That
and
is
even
tense.
then, he even tells the cutter guy, he's like, "Look, I've I've talked to you about all this. I've noticed that jacket over there for a while. I'm giving you one last chance.
Yeah.
Like this is it though. Like, you know, this is me talking
Meanwhile,
to you.
Big Tony or whatever is just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like loading up the gun.
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, hold on, he's giving him a chance. He didn't say start shooting, Tony, and then it's like, oh, we start counting. It's like, oh my god.
And then the girl comes in, like, just conveniently, and just when
Yeah.
everybody's
Hey,
super
how's
gets
everybody's
up.
evening
Or the
doing?
phone call.
It's a film of convenience.
Yeah.
It is, but I
Yes.
think that's
Which again
I'm keeping
goes
it
to
down.
being a play.
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, it does have, like
Otherwise, they were gonna shoot up the front glass randomly. Like there was a
Right.
bunch of different things that could have happened conveniently. It
Right.
just ended up being the girl shows up, the phone call happens.
the phone call perfectly happens, and all
and
of us
the
in the know.
LaFontaines,
Yeah,
You know.
all of us in the know are kind of just like, that ain't Richie. What do you mean? And then you just everybody leaves. And, yeah, and then who the fuck was that? And it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna go look for Richie, and now they're gonna go die. And it's like, sorry, and it's just like, yeah, well, who else is gonna take over now?
Yeah.
Congratulations, buddy. And it's just like, whew, what a way to take care of the chaos with it. But yeah, I
He
mean,
always had
matter.
his best foot forward.
He did.
The cutter guy.
He
He's just
did.
like,
English,
this
you
is
know,
gonna happen now. This is gonna happen now.
things just kind of work out for English.
I guess so.
Just, I mean, except for his family.
I mean, do you think that it's even possible somebody could actually mentally work out?
That many levels? No.
This-
I definitely
this
think that he
kind
had a
of
plan, and then it started being a very good improvisation. at
He
that
got
point.
lucky that day. He was rolling d20s all day long.
Yeah, he had.
Because all they gave you as the film goes on as an audience, like he had fallen asleep doing work, and then he only knew that Richie didn't like Francis. He hated his guts because he
Yeah.
was trying to get to the top. Like that's the only information that you really knew,
Mhm.
and that's the only information that he knew. But it was just enough to
See
basically
the-
formulate
but
this
it,
plot.
Right.
but it was far beyond that because it also
Yeah.
flashes to him like actually looking at the stuff that they had been like keeping in his
Yeah.
space
That's
and
true.
everything.
Mhm.
So
But in the moment,
Yeah.
that's
But,
all he needed.
yeah.
At the
that's
time,
pretty
we
good.
only know that it's that much
Yeah.
until later.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Shape of the movie?
Fat.
Perfectly fit?
I'd say this movie was pretty fit.
I think it's
Yeah.
not fit.
I,
Yeah.
I didn't mention the music and the score that was happening
No, the score.
behind it, and
Yeah.
especially not the entire time because I was trying to pay more attention to it as it went.
Mm.
You liked it?
You
Dude, it
didn't?
was nice. It was
yeah,
like
it was delightful.
yeah,
it was like a little
Like, I'm gonna bring up the intro scene with that song on
Yeah,
it because
give me that
sticks
narration
out to
again.
me.
I could fall asleep to that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was like it was calming. It was like the music was very contrary in a way that wasn't bad to the tone, right? Like it just felt like it was just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, don't
Yeah, it
you
sounded
don't
like
you
Whiplash.
don't
It's
you
just like Whiplash.
don't you
It's
love that
literally
hi
Whiplash.
hat just over and over?
Yeah, I like a hi hat.
It doesn't
Just
stay
hi
for that
hat.
long.
Oh, well, listen to that hi hat continue.
I'm not picking up
Yeah,
what you're
the
putting down.
narration.
Oh, still hi hat. Oh my god,
You're messing up our audio.
I
Stop
love
it.
the hi hat. Oh look, we got a little bit of something, but still the hi hat here.
What's wrong with the hi hat? Oh,
Have
the
you
bass.
ever heard
yeah.
percussion before?
Right.
Like yeah, there's some.
Do you
cymbals
listen to
involved.
music? Sometimes
The
they hit
hi-
those songs.
Yeah, but the hi hat is the
I
focal
need you to
point
put
of
a
that.
hi-hat counter.
Yeah.
And see-
But the hi
He
hat.
said it.
Yeah.
No, but I think that this
The
movie
bass is what hits them. Boom,
Oh,
boom,
yeah.
boom, yeah.
It's kind of jazzy.
Yeah,
almost,
it
right?
is.
But yeah,
This isn't a jazz-
very fit movie. I think that as far as bottle
Better
episodes
jazz movie
go,
than
there
some
were
movies we know.
3 scenes. There were 3 sets basically. There was the
Yeah.
front lobby, there was the middle room, and then there was the back cutting room.
Yeah.
And I thought
which
that
again is why like,
It's a play.
honestly,
Right.
Yes.
The lighting,
That's
you're
it.
just shifting.
That's it. And they
them.
just
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
couldn't deliver. I
Can-
don't
you
think,
just want
on
to redo
stage.
this? You want to do
I mean,
that?
I was seeing it as a play the entire time. I was like, this would be great because I was thinking the part where like he's like hiding in the back room,
Yeah.
like you just have very low lighting.
I wanna
and
play
you're just kinda,
Richie.
Like you could be
True.
like seeing him in that room the
Yeah.
whole time while
Yeah.
the main dialogue is going on in there. Like,
That's true.
yeah, it would be probably a pretty entertaining watch.
I want to play Richie so I can die and play Big Tony later. That's like
Yeah.
same time, and nobody would notice. And then when I
Just
get
change
killed
your
as
clothes.
Big Tony, I come back as one of the LaFontaine dudes.
I'm gonna be LaFontaine though.
Okay, that's
you
fine.
got
okay.
this. You
Yeah.
got the complexion for
It's
it.
true.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, you good to
On play du fromage, gentlemen.
Blah,
Yeah.
Au revoir, buongiorno.
Oh, yeah. Sabaro.
That's it for me. I don't know. Nathan, what do you think?
About what the shape?
Yeah.
I already said.
Yeah, we're all
just
fit
as
across
much.
the board.
It's fit.
Yeah, fit across the board. Definitely no complaints there.
I got the question.
Okay.
Sure, actually. I don't
How do you make this movie a movie and not a play?
You do exactly what you did, and then you put it onto my screen, and then I watched it.
You know exactly what I mean.
Thank you.
They did it. They
to
did
make
it
this
themselves.
more
did it.
theatrical.
Because
what
as
are you
soon
gonna
as
do
he
to
starts
make it
fucking
So to
rolling
make
up
it
his
more
sleeves.
theatrical, are you wanting like
Longer,
more
'cause-
gunfights and
Right, you're
do you
just
wanna
showing the
see-
scenes outside the movie.
Do you want to
that's
see
it.
Boyle getting gunned down in the streets by
Yeah.
the Fontaines?
Maybe maybe seeing Don Boyle in his own mafia room, like hearing the news about his son, like he hasn't came back, giving us another set.
So-
in
It
his
needs
Italian
that.
restaurant with
Yeah.
little red and white
Yeah,
checkers.
Something
So you
like
just
that
want-
with his people around the table.
He wants the mafia scenes from The Dark Knight kind of sprinkled in throughout the film. It's the same idea. It's what it is. It's just the same shit. And you want to see like the Joker come in and clickety clack his way through
with
the
his
scene.
pencil.
Yeah, exactly. No, so okay, here's what happens though, Price. Here's exactly what happens. I'll tell you right now. You add in all that stuff, and then you're gonna complain this movie's double fat, it's too long, and you would have cut it in half.
This movie has plenty of runtime to like insert scenes where there's just a lot of nothing.
I think that's
happening.
one of the specialties of this movie,
Yeah,
though.
it's like-
It could
as soon as
have
you blow
had
it
the
out, you hurt
boss
the
and his
space.
phone in his office and done this. You didn't need that.
No.
You had Francis saying, Don's on his way, he'll be here in a while. And then Richie was like, oh, how long is a while? Like, he didn't need that. He's gonna be there
You don't need a
eventually.
Don getting in his Cadillac being like,
Exactly.
we're gonna shoot them
Yeah.
spaghetti, you know? like,
And the backseat guy,
Yeah.
like,
I'd
you didn't
never
need that.
asked for that. I don't want them to say
no,
more.
but that's
don't
but
want
I
this
just you
scene.
don't want that, but that's what you get.
don't
I want
this
more
set.
of a cinematic movie where like there's more stuff happening because I'm watching
This
this.
is a unique
And there's
movie
nothing
because
going
of
on.
it. There's
So
not
my
many
question
things like
is,
it.
are there any bottle episode styles of film that you have
Enjoy.
Right.
Hateful Eight.
Okay, how did you
No,
feel about
that is
phone
not.
booth?
Phone booth? I thought it was fine.
Phone booth uses a lot of like
It-
New
it
York
ju-
City, Brooklyn. Like,
Yeah, but it's kind of like random footage. It's not really sides.
it's a lot of zoom. I literally just watched it about
I love
3
that
days
movie. You
ago.
know I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that
yeah. It was
movie.
on
It's
it's
so
on LG
good.
channels, but it Hateful Eight has an actual like third of it is actually outside of
Of
the
the
thing.
movie,
It's
right.
the
Which
is
journey
why-
to the place
Because it's mostly a bottle episode, but
You
justifies
can't
it being
argue
a
that
movie
point.
because of that.
I think it is fair for Price to say that it is mostly a bottle.
The mediator. Thank you.
the meat
Like, he's
of
not-
the movie
but
is.
then-
No, I want to say
It does have extra bits.
It has a lot of
Yeah.
extra bits.
Yeah.
You guys are forgetting. There's whenever he
the whole
fucking
flashback for any of
he
the
punches
characters.
that
Yeah, that's
girl
true.
and the flashbacks and I mean
Punches
there's
the
a
girl in the
lot of
flashbacks.
things.
Do you think that flashbacks have no place in a bottle?
I think that they could, but this one is special because they're not using flash. There are no
Yeah.
visuals outside of this building.
I will say I like the fact that we consistently stay in this building for
It's
the entire
impressive.
film, and it is very much about just
Yeah.
about like the fall of a mafia empire happening, all centered
In a
in
tailor
a little
shop.
tailor shop.
Right. Right. With not even it's
There's a scene of the front of the building at the very end, if you want to count that, but that's
Sure.
about it.
well at the beginning of the movie. You
It
can say in front
shows
of it too.
the
Yeah.
window.
So, okay, Price, to answer your question, if we do that, it makes it worse. But if you do, I mean, really, all you do is you show the stuff going on outside of the shop.
You could show
Maybe you give it a different filter because that's what we like to do as Fincher fans. You know, you just make
yeah,
we
Fincher
just
would do it.
change the colors a little bit. Now you know you're not in the same place. You know, that's a little Sin City for you.
They could show the Fontaines going down
You show the-
afterwards.
yeah, you show the
because the
Fontaines.
tape was supposed to.
Yeah, if
tear
the
them
movie
apart.
doesn't wrap where it does, the movie wraps with it showing, and then the FBI came and got the Fontaines, see? And then it's the Fontaines getting walked out, and it's a little narration over
they
the
did
ending.
actually show the FBI guys coming in, but was that in?
That
That was in
that
that was still in the shop, though.
wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's the closest thing we get to flashbacks is the
Yeah.
tail end.
What
of
exactly was the tape? Was it conversations that happened at the shop? Like what exactly?
Yeah,
was it?
so
which he then recorded over with
Right.
that whole.
I knew he
monologue.
recorded over it, but so he gave out the dummy.
he gave it the dummy
Yes.
tape to everybody.
Yeah.
But like
yeah.
the real
They
disc.
can't listen to
The real
until
one
they
is
get
what's-
So
home.
the real one at the very end is a recording of everything that happened
That
of
night.
course.
That happened that night.
The
Yeah.
Because
one that
he
was
hid the
behind the
recording.
furnace.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was like, "This is the tape you want to be given." He's like, "This tape's pretty lit." I'm not gonna lie. This has everybody,
Like,
including
this
me.
is gonna make me seem like the most brilliant guy
Yes, yeah,
Please don't die tonight. I need my legend to be told.
right. All right, let's get into scores. Price, start us from
No.
the bottom. Now we're here.
Oh, you want to
No,
count it
go,
off?
go the other way.
No.
I already know what my score is. Let Nathan go first.
Fine. All right, Nathan, go ahead.
I mean, is this a movie that is my kind of movie? Not necessarily, but I think it's a really well done movie. I don't know, like it kept my attention. It did a good job of keeping tension going and having twists that like it's not a movie that I sought to try and solve.
That's
It's
true.
one that I just enjoyed the ride of just being like, oh, what's he got for this? What's the plan here now? Like, oh,
Someone's
is this
dead
going
now.
sideways or is this going out how it's intended? So yeah, I mean, it all around solid execution. I think I'm probably gonna land at like a 7.5 with it. I think it did. It did very well for what they set out to do.
Okay.
This movie, upon first watch, it was honestly one of those movies that I had never heard of. I think I watched it maybe earlier this year or late last year, and it was one of those I just put on, didn't know anything about it, whatever. Like, quickly into it, it wasn't one of those, I'm just going to run around the house for a little while it's playing. Like, I sat down, I watched it, and I was super impressed by the end of it. On this, which is why I kind of got excited last week, so I was like, wow, that...
Oh, yeah.
And I did think that it was going to ruin it on second watch. Because
No, you thought it was gonna be trash on the second watch.
yeah, I
the
was
way
like,
you
I
were
already
saying
know
it.
who's in
Yeah.
on it. I know what the ending is. Like, I know it all.
Yeah.
All those big reveals. This movie was fantastic on this watch. I mean, it was fun. I don't know that I'd want to watch it a ton, but this movie was really, really well done. And I think it's more impressive than anything the fact that it was basically a few camera shots in each room. Like, that's all there was. That's a filmmaker's dream. I mean, you had to
Budget
buy,
is low.
yeah, you
just
had to buy the costume,
Mhm.
the design and everything. But I mean, hell, that's really all it was.
There's not a whole lot of effects.
No, there's no effects. Some
There's-
blanks.
There's
Yeah.
not much going on screen. I agree.
Bryce, you nailed it.
Bryce, you got it.
I do think that the ending is silly, but even with it, I'm still gonna give it an 8.5. I think that this movie is fantastic, and even with I can talk myself into liking that ending. I do think it's a little bit wacky though, like wackier than the fact that he's the smartest dude to have ever lived.
Yeah.
He could improv on site. He can say whatever he wants to, and everyone believes him. But I think an 8.5 is well deserved in this movie. That probably on paper, I think this movie sounds so boring. He's a tailor who has a little girl up front that I don't know. She might
She's
be
not
moving to
little. I mean,
Paris.
she's definitely an adult.
And he's like 16 and she's like 20, but it's just a normal receptionist that I don't
she's
care
probably
about.
at least 22. Like,
Let's give her some
yeah, come on, she's not 16 here.
little
You're making
girl.
it sound like she's 8, and then she's like, I'm dating a monster. Richie over here is like, and I'm like, no, that's not how old she is. For the record, she's at least in her 20s by the sound of
That's
it.
true. I don't think mafia members lived very long back then. So
No,
it's probably a
yeah.
waste of their life.
If a
Right.
bullet didn't get him, it was the syphilis.
Yeah.
You mean a marble?
Yeah.
Anyway,
You gotta use the
8.5.
language. Bryce.
Yeah, I think there's there's a term for video games that are perfect for podcasts, which is called a podcast game. I think that this movie is a video game movie because I don't see a one reason to actually watch this and not just listen to it. Because all that this movie provides is dialogue. And I like dialogue a lot. But if I'm sitting down and just watching the movie, I want something interesting happening on screen while it's going on. The only time I can think of I wouldn't have caught that if I was just listening to it, was all the times that it kind of went over to the suitcase or the trunk
The chest,
where
yeah.
Richie's
Pants,
body
and
was.
sees the blood drop.
And you see the blood dripping. That is honestly the only thing I can think of that you would not get. Or also when English is pointing to the door saying that Francis is in there, you would have missed that too. But other than that, in the 2 hours or whatever that this movie goes, that's two things you would have missed. Because honestly, nothing on screen is that compelling. The acting is fine, in my opinion. There's the costumes are of the time, but the settings are nothing. There's just, to me, there's no reason for this to be a movie. This could have been just a play that they taped and then released like they did Hamilton or something on Disney Plus. That's exactly what this could have been. I don't understand why this was made a movie when there are so many things that a movie format allows you to do. There's so many things you can do, so many
And
neat
now there's
camera
an extra
angles
one
and stuff you
because
can do.
this is also a
You can
bar.
do this with the visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was boring as sin. And there was just no reason, because when I watching a movie, I want to watch and
I like
then
the high notes.
and engage myself the whole time with the movie, and this movie did not provide that. I don't like when the movie makes you feel like, oh, we know what's happening all along. It's why I don't like heist movies for the most part. is because it's like, oh, they're always one step ahead of you, and that's like you're never going to catch up because this person's so smart and this person's so smart, and you should have seen that coming. And this movie just did that over and over in spades, and I just did not enjoy that. Especially with at the end, he's just this character that you didn't even know that he was at the end, and he completely does an about face. I'm over it. This movie is a 2 for me. I wish I could have liked it because it's very similar to like plays that were made movies, like Hateful Eight is like that, Little Shop of Horrors is like that, and I think those merit the movie format a million times more than a movie like this.
I would say this movie probably lands right at an 8 for me. I'm gonna be right between the boys on this one.
The true boys.
Yeah, the true reviewers on this show.
The
Yeah.
3 over
The
there.
three of us that can agree that this deserves to be a movie at least. So that seems to be the bar today.
Yeah.
You know what, Bryce? Here's what I do appreciate about you. We always have some sort of bar to be defined by on most episodes, and you're usually the one setting it. So
That's true.
I
You tell the viewers what you're
Yeah.
expecting.
here's what I'm expecting.
A movie.
So, but you mentioned this movie being like a con, that it's like this movie could be like an audiobook and you could get almost all the same of the experience with it. And I'm like, well, no, not the same experience because the visual stimulation is important. But I'm like, honestly, a movie that can translate really well to an audiobook, I'm not seeing as a con. I just think that it's like, all right, that's the way it's told. Like, it's told in a way that it's, it is telling, but not telling in the annoying way that we usually use that term, right? Where they're telling us, oh, well, this isn't an expedition dump or anything like that. It's still using its visual effects just totally fine. It's just, yeah, by the visual effects standards, it's not Promare. It's not needing to be like hyper giga lasers and Gundam and all of that, which I'm not saying Price is saying is what the case is.
I sure am not.
But I didn't say you were. I would have a way.
Well, it's weird you went for Promare. That was
Well, because
very
that's a little targeted.
What's the what movie I think brings visual stimulation
Jurassic
to an
Park.
excessive unnecessarily?
Promare is that,
And
that's why it
Promare is
merits,
that.
and that's why it
Yeah.
merits being a movie. The story is garbage, characters are garbage,
No.
but
So,
the screen is cool.
if you put Promare into an audiobook, it would just be like, have epilepsy now. On loop for a couple
Insert
hours.
epilepsy.
Fire! Or whatever. What is it? Burning passion. Thank you. I'm glad to not remember that. Anyway, back to this movie though. No, I think this movie is very, very fun. I enjoyed it on the second rewatch almost as much as the first one. This movie came recommended from a friend of mine who I trust movies on, not the
Not the
Not the
In
Bruges
Bruges dude, but
not the
other
Bruges one. No, my buddy Nat. So he recommended it to me, and we're usually on the same page with movies. And he was like, "Yeah, don't look into anything about it. Just watch it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's the right way to look." And that's absolutely the right way to do this movie. No, I appreciate that it's a little encapsulated bottle thing. I like those little like bottle dramas. Again, Phone Booth is like one of my favorite movies, and that movie is just nothing but mostly
It
bottle
is.
drama.
That one is more of a bottle episode than
Yeah. Now that
Hateful
one's-
Eight, I would say.
Yeah, that one's, and it's much more like dramatic and bombastic, I would say, obviously, than compared to The Outfit. But this is just to say that I felt like the tone was very calming and at the same time used disarmingly, because whenever the tension does just randomly ramp, it's just like, oh, we're on the ride. The jacket is Richie's. Fuck. Or it's just like, yeah, I pulled all the bullets from his gun. And he's like, huh? And then he looks
That's
and
another thing that would go really well with a play, because that jacket could be sitting there the
I
whole
know,
time, and the
whole
audience
time.
would be like,
oh my god, does his dad know? He's gonna notice. Oh my god. Yeah. No.
Then I'm in the back eating popcorn. This is stupid.
Is this already
So much longer now.
That's
There's
the
a-
jacket!
Now we have intermission, and you know what? Nathan was right. It does hurt the pacing.
kills that tension.
Yeah, now I've peed 3 times today thinking, why isn't this play over? Why do they keep bringing me to these things? So, yeah, you know what? I don't think it would do as good as a play, but for, all intents and purposes, I would watch it. I would play it. Hell, let me play Richie. I'll get shot. I'll take 7 marbles for the down or whatever. Like,
You'll say stuff to the trunk for the whole rest of the
yeah. I'll be in the trunk, and then we gotta have a trapdoor out so I can be Big Joe later, and then I can be a
yeah,
LaFontaine guy later, and then I want to be the fire.
Yeah.
I just want to continually play.
Everybody gets to be the fire.
Yeah, everybody gets to play the fire. We only got so many of us. You're
I want to be the scissors, dude. I
Oh,
want to be
bro.
the scissors.
Oh my
Those
God.
things looked gnarly the entire movie.
With
They're,
Miriam playing
this
English?
big. Yeah.
If,
That's
if you did not see those shears coming back and being what killed Francis,
they were sticking out of the bag.
Yeah,
Of
he
course
did-
they
you
were.
need to go back to kindergarten.
He
Yeah.
very
Like,
clearly sets and
It
spikes
was,
himself.
it was set up in such a way that you knew at
Yes.
some point in this movie someone was going to get stabbed with those.
He's jamming those in somebody's neck. And
I will say also, before you continue,
Sure.
that Richie getting shot looked pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that, like him, like getting shot in the neck and like all the blood and
I
everything,
thought that thing was going to come down
It
on
did
top
look-
of
I
it.
know,
That big
right?
drawer thing.
Yeah.
it did look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess my only closing thought comes down to the idea of, like, the reveal of English the Butchers or whatever his name might have been. On first watch, I remember thinking of, like, this is pretty cheese, but I want to like it. And on this one, like, knowing it was coming, it feels a little bit, and I'm not saying for anybody else, but I'm saying for me, it feels a little bit more earned now that I'm, like, kind of really putting together the pieces.
Chew on it.
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's just like, okay, now that I've got this idea that it's like, oh, I only caught on second rewatch that he is not going back to Europe because he cannot go back to Europe. And it was just like, oh, and he is this old man throughout this whole film, but I think old men can be wise because they've had this experience, and it makes more sense for him to have this
Some
now.
layers.
Yeah, well, because it's just like, well, how does he know how to navigate mafia stuff at this
Ogres.
point? Shut up.
And onion.
Shut up! This ain't Shrek. Go watch Shrek, you animal. Anyway, but it's
Love to.
it's the idea that like him navigating all the crime aspects of this film makes more sense when you think he's had like a whole, at least a decent chunk of life
Yeah.
in crime before then, right? And then him revealing that later, I'm like, no, okay, that's cohesive. That like makes sense. Like that's not so
and,
suspension
And
of
it's
belief.
not like it happened 30 minutes left of the movie too.
No.
It was literally the last
It's
like 6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Which
and he doesn't even kill him in like such a like insane boss way. Like it's still
No.
a scramble because he's old and he's like, yeah, I don't want to be in a situation where it's this. He's like, but gun, like obviously gun to
but
my head.
give me a moment.
yeah.
Like let me talk.
Let me tell
through
you a
this.
story. Yeah, he starts doing the anime
That's what I'm
trope,
saying.
the
more
talk
I
no
think about
jutsu
it,
main
the more I can
character.
convince myself that it's actually kind of fun.
It's kinda fun.
weird.
Yeah,
but,
it's
I
like-
didn't hate it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hated it.
The only way that like I maybe start to hate it is if it's like Nazi science and he's just like, and then he drops like the English accent and he goes full like,
For old German.
yeah, if he went full German, he's just like,
For the
John-
motherland.
yeah, Zom, and he's like, it's a shame I didn't want to do this to a blonde
He
man,
pulls
blonde
out
hair,
the
blue eyed
Mein
man.
Kampf, like,
Yeah,
out of
like,
his little like chest
That's
pocket.
that's how you make it far too over.
Smacks
right?
him over the head with it.
Well, but clearly it would be like he'd be like ex-Nazi, right? Like
Sure.
the idea is that he's like, okay, I saw that this was a flawed decision, and you know when you're in Germany, it was the like, all right, even if you try to take that spin with it, then I just want a Glorious Bastards to tie into the end of it,
Honestly,
and it's
it
the
would
same
be a
universe.
prequel.
Turn
Right.
it up.
Anyway, so eight altogether. I think this movie is very, very solid. I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it on the second rewatch. I'm probably not super eager to go like race to watch this movie again like right away. But give me a couple of years and just throw it on TV, and I'll probably be like, hell yeah, dude, let's watch. I want to hear that hi hat roll. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. That,
How do you make a suit? Ta 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 ta.
yeah. Anyway, so that's our show. We've got some critic scores first before the wheel, actually, because I.
Is there one movie left on there?
It's just only 2.
No.
It's
Well, we
yours
might get
and
a
Nathan's,
we
I
might get a hangout out of it
Nathan's.
though. We don't know. For the record, Rotten Tomatoes, 85% on the tomato meter, with
That's
audiences at a 92. Audiences love a mystery thriller. This movie is liked a whole lot. 3 out of 4 critics agree.
J.K. teaching, but not music.
That's mine.
Just these.
But
two.
not music.
Was
Quit trying to
that-
put
so that's
Whiplash
still
back
on
on
there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Nathan.
So how many?
Spin it.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
2.
2 movies.
With a couple other slots that are possible.
That hangout is happening.
Dude, it might.
2-hour hangout. Let's see it.
Rest
Ooh,
not.
JK teaching, but not music.
Wait, was it an arrow or was it straight?
It was Arrow.
Okay, yes.
It was right next to
That's
it.
my slot. Dang.
So
No, it's
close.
So there's one movie left now.
There's
But
one-
anyway,
yeah.
this next movie that we're gonna watch, I've already said it a bunch of times, so whatever.
Whiplash.
Again. No, it is Jennifer's Body.
Oh, okay, that movie.
Not quite sure why I picked it, but I remember watching it. I was like, I like this movie.
No.
No.
Before we watch it, before the next review, I do want to say that Price has gone on record to say that this is one of the best horror type movies, horror genre type movies.
You said that.
You have.
I have
You
not.
said it. That this
I
movie
have
is
not said that.
fantastic. As
I've
a
not
horror
said any of that.
Definitely said
As
that
a
before.
slasher, I've heard you say it before. but
I've
I'm
never
like,
called this a slasher. I've never
You
used
said
those
this
words.
is a piece of cinema. No, I'm bullshit, but he did say
you
this
have
was good horror
you
movie.
have stood behind this movie.
You have.
many times where I've told you I don't think it's that good, Bryce. Like I think it's okay.
I think it's okay too. I've never said it was
You
that
liked it.
awesome.
You said top 3.
Just put it
top
on-
3 quarters.
on-
I don't know.
I'm just going ahead and priming you to
Yeah.
just like ream you on the next one.
I don't know why, because I've never said that.
You have.
Get ready to defend your not position.
It's got a good song on it though.
Yeah, it does have a good
It's
song.
got one good song on it.
Not the nudity it needs for having Amanda Seyfried in it, though.
Mm.
Shame about it. Spoiler. That's going to hurt my score. Anyway, guys, that's our show. Make sure to tune in next week for a very non-nude episode of the Effing Pod. Comments on... Oh, yeah. So, we're trying some new things. That includes non-anal things. This includes mic things. So, we didn't clap sync beforehand. Oh, shit.
No, wait.
So, let us know if this audio sounds any better
It's
or worse.
definitely helpful to have multiple different
Yes.
claps. Not just one
Piece it together.
single
Yeah.
person clap.
Well,
Figure it out, Nathan.
lining it up in reverse is not going to help at this point, so...
no, I mean it could.
Oh, okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
No, wait, don't.
No, Mason, no!
No, just stop.
Anyway, let us know how we
Wait,
sound
do
in
it
the
closer to
comments
the mic.
below.
Instinctual.
Also, make sure to hit the bell because this one keeps messing up and making us forget the clap syncs. Now the funny thing is, now that we need to do it, I'm gonna forget every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst. If-
I don't want to do it again.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We put all really great content out here every single week-ish.
We just put out a Baldur's Gate walkthrough with Nathan.
Walkthrough?
Well,
Playthrough.
just play.
Yeah, he's not telling him.
Just play.
Yeah.
You need to
Just
go
play.
over your Baldur's Gate with the narration that the cutter has.
Yeah, can you...
Very slow,
Bum,
very
bum.
like meticulous, and
I want to die as Ricky so I can be the bass in the score. It's just bum 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 bum, just in the background.
You can see Dylan sprinting
Yeah.
in every
Just like
position.
filling every role.
Dude, that's what it's like to be in small plays, though. Anybody else an acting kid? Anyway, let us know if you're an acting kid below in the comments below. Until next week, guys, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Dylan's wanted to be in every part of this play.
Yeah. I just want to be all the minor characters because we don't have enough people. We have the
That's
3
true.
mains.
We have 4 of us.
Yeah,
total, yeah.
Annabeth's and Jack.
Which granted, there's only 4.